today. So today I'm talking about UPF. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what that is in a minute, but the reason I want to talk about this is because it's becoming a bit of a buzzword at the moment. I'm seeing a lot more talk about it in sort of the mainstream media, even friends are talking about it. So I can see it starting to filter through into like the general consciousness of people and what they're eating and their nutrition, which is great. And it really does follow like the ethos of eat better, feel better, because one thing I'm really big on is that we all eat whole foods and fresh foods as much as possible and stick to like as natural a diet as possible. And I think that's why always when people talk to me about sort of Weight Watchers and Lighter Life and Slimming World, it just gives me the shivers, because all that stuff, it might be low calorie, so it might be good for weight loss, but it's not actually doing your body any good at all. It's full of rubbish and emulsifiers and fats and artificial sweeteners and sugars and stabilizers and additives and colorings and preservatives and the list could go on and on and on. So basically all those foods are doing is they might be reducing your calorie intake, but they're causing endless amounts of inflammation, toxins in the body, build up of excess trans fats and saturated fats, all those toxins that need to be detoxed by the liver, putting pressure on the liver, upsetting your gut microbiome, interfering with your hormones, disrupting your sleep, disrupting your mood, and ultimately affecting your weight as well. So all those foods are really bad for you. So what's that got to do with UPF? So UPF stands for ultra processed food, and that's the food that we really want to be avoiding in our diet. And UPF is the phrase that's becoming really popular right now in the mainstream media, which is why I'm talking about it today. So you need to use a little bit of common sense when we're looking at UPF, because foods like yogurt and cheese are technically processed food because they obviously don't come out of a cow like that. They get processed from the milk into the yogurt or the cheese, which is absolutely fine. That's a natural process, and it's absolutely fine. They're not putting any nasties, any chemicals in there. But once you start looking further along the spectrum at things like, breakfast cereals that we give the kids, biscuits, certain breads, sauces, anything that comes in a packet, with a long ingredients list, is basically ultra processed food. So how do you avoid ultra processed foods? There's lots of ways, there's lots of tips, there's resources, there's websites. I'm going to try and put some more tips on here as well for you. But the main thing is just think about what your grandma used to have in her cupboard at home. And if the ingredients listed on the back of the packet aren't in English, you can't say them, let alone decipher what they mean, and they don't sound like anything you could buy individually in the supermarket and make the product yourself, then the chances are it is a UPF, and therefore you want to avoid it. So that's just a really good simple check. Look on the back of the packet. If there's more than 5 ingredients, that's another indicator that it's probably over processed. But anything that you wouldn't be able to buy that ingredient as a standalone ingredient in the shop, that you don't understand what it is, it's a funny chemical, that means it's ultra processed. And all those foods, what they're doing is they're increasing inflammation in the body, they're increasing toxins in the body, they're increasing the load in the body, and that is what is really impacting our health. We know on Eat Better, Feel Better that inflammation is the leading cause of lots of the cardiovascular diseases, of obesity, of diabetes, of high cholesterol, of cancers, of arthritis, of Alzheimer's. All those things are caused by inflammation in the body, and inflammation is caused a lot by UPF, ultra processed food. And that is why there is this correlation between the changes in our supermarket and the foods that are available to the increase in obesity, cancers, and all those diseases I just mentioned. It's not a coincidence that those are all on the rise, as the amount of processed food we're eating are all on the rise. And all you have to do is walk around your supermarket, any supermarket, and just look at the shelves, and when you start to look at it through those kind of glasses of looking at UPF, you just see how much crap there is in our supermarket, how much junk there is in our food that we're eating. So it's just becoming more aware, and it's just trying to make better choices. So just by looking at the ingredients, doing a bit of research, being on a group like this, I always try and post healthier options for you and give you advice where I can. And one of the things that's really good is there is this amazing app that my friend showed me last week. He said, what do you think of this? And actually it's brilliant. So I've taken a screenshot of myself using some of the app, and I'm going to put it on here later. But basically it's a free app. You download it. It's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. I will post a link to it on here as well. But basically with that you can scan the barcode of any product and it tells you straight away, it gives it a rating and it tells you how processed it is, it tells you how bad or good the additives are in it, and it gives you a healthier alternative as well, which is really great. So I actually, because I'm at the gym, I scanned as a tester one of the protein bars that they have sitting at the counter in my gym. Now you would think, being in a gym, that the food would be healthy. You think, oh, protein bar, that's going to be healthy, high protein, no added sugar, blah blah blah. But actually, when you look at the ingredients, that it's full of junk and it's really ultra processed. And I scanned it on the app and it got a terrible rating. It's full of additives. One of the additives is actually classed as toxic to the body, and it's very high in saturated fat and it's quite high in calories, so it was a no-no. But it also gave me some really good healthy alternative to that food. So it was really clever. I'm going to share a screenshot of that for you so you can see. I scanned the product, it came up with all the information on it, and then if you watch the little recording I did, it then shows you the healthier options, which are products that I think from brands that you would recognise, you know, Graze and the Protein Ball Company gave us that option as well, which are products that I do recommend to you guys. I've used them in clinic, I've recommended them to some of you already, so we know those products are better for us, and they technically they're still a little bit processed, but they're not ultra processed, they're not full of all those crap. So and crap's a technical word. So so that is my tip for the day. Just try to be more aware, because you know, I know we talk a lot about sugar and cutting artificial sugar, but actually the problem with the sugar is they're in the ultra processed food. So if you take that to the next step and cut out the ultra processed food, you're naturally cutting out the excess sugar, the over sugared, over sweetened, over artificial sweetened, the added fats and all that. You're automatically cutting those out. So it's really trying to avoid the UPF, the ultra processed foods, that it's just going to give you the most immediate benefit to your diet. So I'm going to post at the bottom of this video the link to the app and the little video that I took using the app, so you can see. I'm sure there's other apps out there. This was just one that my friend shared with me and said, what do you think of this? And I thought, actually, that's really good. So I'm putting it on here for you guys to use as well, and let me know your thoughts. You know, have you been seeing UPF being mentioned a bit in the press and wondering what that was? There's also a really good book on UPF, so I will put that on here as well if any of you want some, you know, bedtime reading. If you're struggling to sleep and you want to try a book on nutrition to send you off to sleep, I will put the UPF book on here as well, and you can have a read of that. It's, joking aside, it is really interesting and it's really insightful, so you might find that helpful as well.